Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Errol "The Truth" Spence. Get this, Spence not expected to return to 147 after the Thurman fight at 154. Listen, I can't say this doesn't surprise me when I seen the old switcheroo, when I seen the three-time belt holder go to a totally different weight class to fight someone that's supposed to be a mandatory at the weight class that he's champion at. I thought something was funny about that, and but I didn't really think it would come to this degree. But then again, I'm not surprised, because the writing was on the wall. I did compare him, Errol, to Canelo. Saul Canelo Alvarez, when he went from 168 to 175. But Canelo went there for a belt. He went there for the WBA. He attempted to take that belt from Dimitri Bivol, but came up short, okay? And now he goes to 154 to fight Keith Thurman, but not at 147. Now, as you guys can see, he doesn't expect to return to 147. And let me counterpunch. I don't think that it was never intended for Errol Spence to fight Terence Crawford, because that's the only reason that he could go to 154, because Terence is not at 154. There's no pressure at 154 as long as Terence Crawford's not there. See, Errol Heyman is very smart. He knows, well, if we keep getting pressured for a fight at 147, what we could easily do, we could make a fight at 154. And then our reason for rhyme could be, well, we don't have to fight him anymore as long as we're at 154. So that means if he insists on staying at 154, does that mean everyone that's his mandatory has to fight him at a catch weight? Because remember, he doesn't supposed to relinquish those belts. Okay? Unless that's changed also, because nobody knew he wasn't going back to 147. We just knew he could fight at 154 without losing his championship status, his straps. Okay, Mr. Strap Season, right? So in order to keep him strap season and to keep him fighting, and to keep the sweat, the heat off of his neck, right? Fight at 154. But now, hey, he's not expected to come back from 154. So if that's the case, they should relinquish all the belts. Let someone else, like Jared Ennis, Stanionis, when he gets well, Terence Crawford, fight one of those guys in the meantime, and let that be that. But you know what ultimately happens, right? More time. See, Errol Spence is only 32 years of age. March 3rd, he'll be 33. Still young. Terence Crawford is 35. He'll be 36 this year. So he has about 3 years on Errol Spence. Well, if Terence Crawford, you leave him there with these young savages, these young, hungry, ambitious fighters, he's going to have to be forced to fight one of them. Okay, maybe the other one, maybe Virgil Ortiz. Okay, you have Virgil Ortiz, Stanionis, and Jared Ennis. Okay, and that keeps Errol Spence out of harm's way from any of those guys. Not saying he couldn't fight him, but why would Al Heyman risk it if he knows Jared Ennis could possibly upset Errol Spence? Why would he want to pin them against each other? What he did was, let's take Errol Spence away. He's done enough at that division. Let's take him to 154. Let's relinquish the belts. Give it to Jared Boots Ennis, and I'll figure something out at 154. Meanwhile, we're closer and closer to that Canelo fight because we're moving up in weight, right? So I think that's a clever move. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford is left fighting one of those young savages. So he's left fighting harder competition, being older, right? And still there's no Errol Spence fight. There's no unification unless he's fighting for unification. But here's the thing. I don't think Terence Crawford would be too worried about that. But then here's the counter. Terence Crawford could move to 154 also, if he chooses to. He could choose to go to 154 and the problem will still remain. But I think by that time, he would have fought one of those guys, and hopefully for Al Heyman, Terence Crawford loses one of those fights, and then if he loses, he will no longer be champion. So it's a clever move by Al Heyman, orchestrating Errol Spence's career on how he navigates through it. You guys tell me what you think about Errol Spence not expecting to come back to 147 pounds for any of his straps, I guess. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.